He looked at me kind of funny. I said, that's what it is. It's obligation. It's pain. They don't want to come see you. They feel like they have to and they're guilty. I said, they're not giving you love. In fact, a lot of those people probably hate you because they do that. Boy, you talk about interrupting his pattern. He started to defocus his eyes, started to look inside. What am I doing? I'm getting him to link what? Pain to his present pattern. So his brain will want to change it. I said, listen, if you want love, there are much better ways, and you're a much more intelligent person than this. You don't have to sabotage in this way. You could get it just by, the best way to get love? Give it. See, be loving to people. Give them so much love that they have to give you love back. I said, there's a law in life. It's called reciprocation. What you put out, people feel like they got to give it back. I said, some people stay in relationships with people that they like but don't love, and the reason is they feel stuck because the other person loves them so much that they just, they can't get out. They give love back. I said, listen, if you really want love, start pouring it out so deeply and so powerfully to so many people, it'll come back tenfold. And he looked around and I said, and if you do that, you have no pain and you have lots of pleasure. You do the other one, you keep breaking body parts, people come, they're obligated, they think, God, what a schmuck. How many more times is he going to get in a car accident? What is he, stupid? But they wouldn't say that to your face. I did this over and over again until I conditioned him to link a new pattern. I said to him as well, look, if you are expressing love, while you're expressing it, what are you feeling? He said, love. I said, well, that's interesting. So you mean you could get what you want the minute you give it? His brain went, wow, what a concept. Here's a whole new way. Now, will this help him to change his whole life? Well, he believes it will. We'll know in 6 months if he hasn't had too many more accidents. The bottom line, unless he's just like blind or something, and that's part of the problem, the point is this. Any pattern of self-sabotage comes out of a positive intent. Do you hear me on this? We're always trying to get something that's good for us. Even people that commit suicide do it for a positive intent in their brain's mind. Their brain says, hey, suicide, being dead would be less painful than being alive, which I have a hard time personally believing. But in the moment, people who believe that commit suicide. Most people never commit suicide because killing themselves is just too painful. So what do? They just beat themselves up a lot. You don't need to do either one. You can free yourself from self-sabotage right now by knowing from this day forward that if you ever start to sabotage yourself, one, don't jump to conclusions and assume that because you've done something a few times and it didn't work out, or the last minute you screwed something up, that it's this specter called self-sabotage that's coming to find you. Try another approach. Maybe it's you're just not paying attention. Maybe you're not focusing. Maybe you just got some poor habits. It may not be a self-sabotage pattern, so don't jump to that conclusion. If they're just bad habits, refocus and decide what you do want to accomplish. And two, if it clearly is a pattern where you are subconsciously sabotaging yourself, screwing things up, hey, get excited. Don't get upset. Say, hey, look, my brain is doing what it does best. It thinks it's keeping me out of pain and give me some pleasure. But I just got to teach my brain a better pattern. That's all. So what's the intent? And that's how you eliminate self-sabotage. So let's go through the steps real quickly. 1, identify a behavior that's keeping you from getting your goals, something that's stopping you or holding you back. First, you got to identify it. That's step number 1. 2, once you've identified it, ask yourself, what is the positive intent here? What is my brain trying to give me? So for example, if you're about to go up to somebody and ask them for a date, and then all of a sudden you shut down and you can't even talk, what's the positive intent? Well, my guess would be that your brain is trying to protect you from being rejected. It's saying, well, if he doesn't say anything, he can't be rejected. Rejection is pain. I don't want pain. Does that make sense? So that's why you can't think in that moment. But see, you got to teach your brain otherwise. You got to go in, once you find out what the positive intent is, and you go, well, it's trying to protect me from rejection. Then you go to step 3. Get some leverage on yourself so that you can make the change. You know how to do that. We've done it over and over again. That is, teach your brain that, hey, if I don't change this thing, I know you're trying to help me out here, brain. I know you're trying to keep me from the pain of rejection, but by me not going up and expressing how much I'm attracted, it's costing me relationships that could give me a lot more pleasure. It's a little bitty pain. But not being in a relationship is big pain. I got to explain this to your brain. You got to have a little conversation in your head. The way to do it is on paper. Sit down and write down all the pain you're going to get if you don't change this pattern, and all the pleasure you'll get by making the pattern work. Real simple. Step 4, interrupt the pattern. And there are lots of ways to do that. We've talked about many. The simplest one that we've used in the last day or two, of course, is the erasure technique. So how do we use it? Well, see yourself beginning to go into a situation where you're sabotaging yourself. In other words, see yourself start to approach, let's say, an attractive person, and you see yourself start to choke up. Only this time, watch it happen and scramble it. Be outrageous. The key to interrupting a pattern is to do something your brain would never, ever expect, and do it rapidly over and over and over and over again. What that does is totally fry the old pattern that used to stop you. And of course, step 5 then is install a new pattern. Condition yourself to have new feelings. What do? See yourself over and over going up and making the connection with this person and feeling the pleasure that comes from that. So you clearly teach your brain, pain comes from not doing it, pleasure comes from doing it, and that old pattern, I can't run anymore, I've forgotten what the heck it is, I've scrambled my brain. Simple, humorous, basic way to change and eliminate self-sabotage, something you can easily do. I want to make one other point, and that is some of the most successful people have patterns of self-sabotage. So remember, if you find yourself doing something that doesn't seem to be supporting you in the long term, remember at some level your brain thinks it's supporting you, at least in the short term. That's why it's doing it. Don't feel bad about it. Don't go, oh gosh, here I am, this failure. Some of the most successful people that I've interviewed and worked with have had self-sabotage. It's just a pattern we once in a while get, and you can just change it now. It's very easy. So here's your assignment. Pull out your success journal, and before you turn the tape over, just identify. Do you have a place in your life where you have a tendency? And by the way, that's all this self-sabotage stuff is. We don't want to make it into a thing. It's not a thing. It's just a tendency. It's just a pattern that once in a while you run. So is there a place in your life where you have a tendency to start to sabotage things when it gets too good, for example? Relationship gets to a certain level and your brain goes, uh-oh. If I get too connected, if I love this person too much, what if they leave me? Oh my gosh, then I'd have pain, so I better sabotage it first. You understand the kind of thing I'm talking about here? So identify if there's a tendency someplace. That's number 1. 2, don't feel bad about it. Instead, feel good. Get excited. Say, my brain is awesome. My brain here is doing a good job of what it believes it needs to do to help me to avoid pain and gain pleasure. So feel good about your brain. It means it's doing its job. 3, get some leverage, though, to make a change. Get your brain to associate and teach your brain by writing down, here's all the things I miss out on because of this tendency. And really get your brain to see that there's major pain in sabotaging. And make sure your brain also says, make a list of here's all the pleasure I get by making a change. So your brain has got both the stick and the carrot. It's got leverage to want to make the shift. 4, then what you need to do is now simply interrupt the pattern. And the interrupt the pattern, there are a zillion ways to do it again, but use the erasure technique since that's what we've been using for the last 2 days. Real simple process. Think about the sabotage you've done and make it humorous. Run those kinds of scenarios over in your head and turn them into cartoons. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth until when your brain thinks of it, it kind of laughs and sees that this is ridiculous, where it doesn't run the pattern the same way anymore. And finally, 5, rehearse achieving the result you want without the self-sabotage. In other words, rehearse achieving the success you want and make sure you feel the pleasure of succeeding. And do it over and over again till your brain links, hey, this really works. This is really going to last. This is something that I really want in my life. And the self-sabotage pattern or tendency will disappear. So do this and we'll talk about how to create unstoppable self-confidence. Creating unstoppable self-confidence. Self-confidence. It's something people talk about all the time when they say why they're not succeeding. Over and over I hear people say, I just don't have enough confidence. Listen, confidence is not something you have, it's something you create. And you can create it at any moment in time. A sense of confidence is nothing but a sense of power within yourself, a sense of certainty that you can pull something off. And you can create that feeling literally in a moment. It's not something that you live with. There is no one that I've ever met that no matter what situation they're in is always confident. Everybody gets knocked off kilter at times. The key is, can you turn the confidence on when you need it so you can get the most out of yourself? Does that make sense so far? So you got to remember that feeling confident is nothing but a state of mind. And you can change and create any state you want at any moment in time, no matter what's going on around you. Let me give you some specific examples. There are 3 primary ways that you can create self-confidence at any moment in time to get the most out of yourself and produce the results you really want. Approach number 1 you're familiar with, and it's called physiology. You've got to remember that any feeling you've ever had in your body, whether it be fear, anxiety, concern, depression, frustration, or ecstasy, power, unstoppability, confidence, success, those emotions, any emotion you feel comes from the way you use your physical body. The only way you can feel anything is by the way you move, the way you breathe, your facial expressions. So if you're not feeling confident, you don't have to intellectually try and pump yourself up because it doesn't always work. I'm sure you've tried at times to go, well, I need to be confident. I know I should be confident, but you're still not there. Well, let me tell you, the quickest way to get confident is to change your physiology radically. Listen, in our seminars around the country, those Unleash the Power Within programs, we take people through a first evening we call Fear into Power. And it's an experience where we get you to change your conditioning and feel totally confident in an area you'd normally be totally afraid of. So at the broadcast site, we use a firewalk experience where everyone walks across the fire between 1,200 and 2,000 degrees burning hot coals. And in the theaters, we have people actually learn how to break through wood, karate style, and they do it in about 15 minutes. And it requires not only confidence, as you might guess, but competence to do something that most people take 2 or 3 years to learn how to do in a few minutes. Now, the purpose of this is to get people in a state of being totally strong and confident, even though they were totally afraid, lacking confidence only moments before. Let me tell you something, to get yourself across a bed of burning hot coals or to smash through some wood, even though you might be tiny and small and the wood is much bigger than you've ever done before, I gotta tell you something, to do that, you gotta make a major change in your state. Major. Now, let me tell you how we do that. The number one way we do this is we get people to move their bodies with a level of intensity and power that they probably never experienced before. Remember, earlier in these tapes, I said to you that emotion is created by motion. The way you move your body physically, the way you breathe, your facial expressions instantly affects your emotional state, the way you feel, and the way you think. So if you need confidence, you must move in a confident way. You must literally put yourself at level 10 or above. You remember those conversations? So what I do with people is literally, I'll take somebody who comes up to the fire and they go, oh gosh, I really don't think I could do this. And I say, and I couldn't do it either if I talk like you right now. Stand up. Breathe strong. Take a huge deep breath in. Blow it out hard. What I want you to do is say the word yes. And they go, yes. I said, no. Say yes. And I have them yell. And they go, yes. Say it again. Yes. And pretty soon they feel incredibly strong. And I say, walk. And they go, okay. And it's like instantly. A moment ago, they were totally afraid. Now they have the confidence to do it. The only difference was changing their state of mind and emotion by changing the way they're using their body. But I do it radically. Major explosive changes. In other words, if I was going to make a gesture, I wouldn't just like reach my hand out towards you. I'd snap it out there. That's the kind of state of confidence I'm talking about. Are you following me? In other words, you've got to move deliberately as if you are absolutely, totally in control. You know you can create any result you want. If you meet someone who's confident, you know it before they open their mouth, don't you? Can't you tell by the way they move, by the way they speak? Listen, what if when you turn these tapes on, I said, I want to thank you for listening. I'm Tony Robbins, and I want to share with you over the next 30 days how you could have, absolute, total self-confidence. And go, get rid of this guy. What am I doing? What's going on here? Who is this guy? Is he on drugs? What's the deal? See, the bottom line is I communicate rapidly because I'm confident. Is that I'm competent? No, confident. That's what I'm talking about. Hopefully I'm competent too. But the bottom line is I'm just letting it go. Out of that state of confidence, though, ideas pop up. This whole set of tapes have been designed to help you get results without limits. I didn't sit here and say, okay, now I'm going to say this, and then I'll say that, and then I'll put it in this order. I want you and I to have a relationship that moves you. This whole set of programs comes from my ability to say, I'm confident, I know I can reach this person. If I didn't believe that, you and I couldn't have this conversation right now. But sometimes I don't feel confident. Sometimes I don't feel like I know what I'm going to say next. Have you ever been there? What I do at that time is act as if I know what I'm doing, which is a useful approach. Now you might say, well, you're teaching people to be confident but not competent. I got news for you. If you're confident enough, you can develop the competence. But if you're competent and you don't have confidence, you'll never succeed. There are many competent people who could accomplish incredible results, but they're missing the confidence. Am I suggesting to you to be foolhardy? No. What I'm suggesting to you is learn how to turn on the confidence rapidly. Use enough of it to learn what you need to know to be competent and effective and produce the results. But you'd be surprised how much more you know than you realize if you really get yourself in the right state of mind. Does that make sense? Try it. Try moving your body in a confident way. In fact, try it right now. Please stand up. Again, if you're in the car, it'll be a little bit more difficult, but no, don't sit back down. Some of you started to stand up and you sat back down. Don't do that. I'm there. I'm watching. I'm telling you. Stand up, and what I want you to do is just try something. Stand the way you'd be standing if you felt unstoppably confident. Breathe the way you'd be breathing if you felt unstoppably confident. Really go for it. Put the kind of expression on your face like you'd have if you were unstoppably confident. And make some gestures. Actually, move your hands out with some power as if you're trying to make a point with real power and where you know that what you're going to say is going to be effective. And just notice how that feels. Say something. Say yes in the tone of voice of somebody who is totally confident. Don't go, yes. Yes! With some power, and just feel how that feels in your body. Get a sense of it. Turn on more intensity than you would normally use with another person. Just feel it in your body so you feel what it's like. You want to be able to turn it on just by turning your body on. This is critical. With this as a power, you can go from being afraid to strong in a matter of moments. Now try something really stupid and silly. While you're standing there, I'd like you to walk around your room, and the way I'd like you to do that is I want you to imagine there's a cape shooting off the back of your back. I'm going to have this we call this a cape walk. Now, if nothing else has felt stupid up until now, this one is guaranteed to assist you in this process. What I want you to do is stand up, pretend there's a cape back there, shoulders are back, and I want you to walk around, just walk around in a circle, but like you got this cape flowing back there with a sense of pride and power. And they go, I'm not going to do this. Listen, only those who are truly secure can participate in this exercise. Go for it. Try it. Come on. Walk around and just notice what it feels like. Seriously, walk around and notice how it feels to have a cape on your back. And from that state, even though it seems humorous, try it right now while you're listening to me. Walk around and feel what it feels like to have this cape flowing off your back there. And notice what happens in terms of your confidence. Even though you may be laughing, do you feel a little stronger? Are you more upright? Do you feel more alive? Just know this. You can sit back down now. Don't sit on your cape. Bottom line is this. If you are making gestures with certainty, if you're moving with certainty, with some acceleration, with some power, if you speak with that kind of tempo, you will feel confident no matter how you were feeling a few moments ago. If you want to feel like you have a lack of confidence, move not only slowly, because slowly could still be confident and move slowly, but move with hesitation. Speak with hesitation. And within a short period of time, you can cause yourself to not only feel bored with yourself, but also to actually feel like you can't accomplish anything.